Now I want to announce our second speaker, Claudia Huber-Newman. We know Claudia for some time already. She did a soft skills workshop last year that you can watch on our YouTube channel. Claudia has a 20 years experience in recruiting, and so she's a perfect person to talk about job hunting and how to find your way in job search nowadays. And this is the talk and the workshop she'll be talking about today. So welcome, Claudia, and thank you for joining us today.
Welcome, everybody, and it's nice to see such a big crowd here, actually on a hot day like this. My name is Claudia. I started to recruit for the former Urban Group, now DSM Austria, 2 years ago. And I have, like Frank mentioned, more than 20 years experience in recruiting, talent acquisition, and employer branding. And so, I was told that, job hunting, how to find the right career opportunity is a big topic amongst the, young science crowd. And so I thought, okay, what could I share with you today? What we're going to talk about is, Luis also mentioned a lot of it in his personal journey. And I'm happy that we kind of meet here on the same, on the same level and same information you will get here and to increase your ideas of how to find the right job. So we talk about how to ask the right questions and understanding a job ad. Short introduction into what job boards are available. What about social media? Why and what if not? Kununa and Glassdoor, I think most of you know that. Is that truth or fake? Should you use it? Can it guide you to find the right company? What about data integrity and your personal data on career pages and motivational letter? There was already discussion, do's and don'ts. Unsolicited applications doesn't make sense anymore, and asking the right questions in the interview, just a short overview, reasons for rejections, and should I follow up on it? Starting with the right questions, right? It's like Luis also mentioned before, what do I want? I think this is the most important question you should ask yourself. And this is not only regarding the job content, but also about company size, location, ownership structure. Do you want to work for a huge corporation, for example, or do you prefer a small startup or even a family-owned business? What are your values you want to be covered? Sustainability, for example, ethics, diversity. Is that something that the company is also standing up for, or wouldn't you meet anything of it when you get hired there? What are your core competencies? What is your USP? Also something Luis mentioned before. What makes you valuable for a company and for a job? And what is your personality? Actually, this is also quite important to kind of think about it when it comes to finding the right job. Understanding the job ad is something I have the feeling some people struggle with that. I would start with evaluating the hard facts. And I received many applications where, let's say, the job ad asks for someone with education in analytical chemistry. And I receive applications from all sorts of life science backgrounds. Don't apply to anything just because it's out there. Really check out what's in the job ad. If they say like +3 years of work experience and you have only 2 years, that's not a big deal, okay? Give it a try. Well, when it comes to the technical abilities and the work experience, if it's explicitly mentioned, please take this for serious. If a job ad or a job, especially a careers page, asks you for visa requirements, for example, you would need to have a work permit for a specific country. Please don't. Always tell the truth. And if you don't have it, please don't answer with a yes in case you don't have it. It really causes a lot of troubles for the recruiter and it doesn't help the process at all. Okay. If visa requirements are asked, this is a good reason why. Job boards, which one? I put Google for Jobs up front because I think this is the easiest way today to find a job. And I just figured it works on, of course, it works best on Chrome. It somehow works also on other browsers, but yeah, I would recommend Chrome for it. LinkedIn Jobs, of course, company career sites like careersdsm.com. Check out the companies you're interested in and go to their career site and see what they offering, and also get the information there. Karriere.at and Steps.at are the biggest job boards in Austria, and you might find probably all relevant jobs there. Very important are also like specific job boards like the ÖGMPT, where you can be sure that you only find life science jobs. And so Karriere.at and Steps.at, you have to be, filter this a little bit better. But with ÖGMPT, you can be sure that all jobs that they're posted there are related with one of your topics. And then several other job boards of universities and Fachhochschulen, and you receive the presentation afterwards anyway, so you just can go through it and check on it. Would I be on every job board? Why not? I know that some job boards want you to kind of sign up on it with like a resume or whatever. Yes, it looks easy at the first place, but on a second view, you would always have to sign up at the career site anyway. So to kind of have your resume ready on Karriere.at or Steps.at might help with small companies, but not with the big corporations, because they need your data in the system for data integrity. They would not accept the application via Karriere.at, for example. Job boards, career sites, signing up for a talent pool or not. My recommendation is the more the merrier, honestly. Like I said before, go to the different job boards, go to career sites of companies and sign up there. What you should do is like filter your skills, filter your interests, and the country, of course, if you're not willing to relocate. But don't filter too much on the radius of the location, because then you might miss out on opportunities that they look far away, but they are not actually. And remote and hybrid is definitely an option after the COVID crisis. So many companies offer a hybrid work model. Leaving personal data on a career page, good or bad? What my feeling is that the next generations, the Generation Z, and they don't struggle as much with this topic like the former generations do. And when we come to the next slide, you will see why I would recommend, yes, please leave your personal data on a career page, because it really helps you to find the right job, and it helps the recruiter to find you. And how is that happening? So I'm bringing you an example of what we're doing at DSM, for example. We use one tool that's called Eightfold. Eightfold is a tool that works with artificial intelligence, and it's connected actually with the LinkedIn Recruiter. The LinkedIn Recruiter is probably the most powerful tool out there that helps recruiters in-house as well as consulting recruiters to find talent on the net, on LinkedIn and on the net. So this is why I would strongly recommend to have your profile on LinkedIn. I will explain Eightfold a little bit later. Other social media, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Yes, if you want to have your profile there too. Why? Because the artificial intelligence helps you to connect with the right opportunity. Yes, we all have these glass profiles there, but so platforms like Eightfold, they find you on the net, and they can offer you the right opportunity, the right job in your feed. You don't even need to look for this job actively, but you would probably looking for the next sofa for your apartment, and then you get an ad that tells you, hey, DSM has a next job, has a nice job for you that could fit your interests. And this happens with Eightfold, but of course also with other campaigns. So if you're not on social media, probably most of the big companies would not find you that easy and could not offer you the right opportunity. Kununu and Glassdoor, I also took a look myself. And we have a Kununu profile and a Glassdoor profile. We always try to answer all the comments there. I would be careful when you read comments to kind of evaluate the content, because sometimes, I have to say that sometimes a frustrated employee kind of takes revenge and then puts things out there probably where it was his way how to see it, but other employees would not see it that way. And therefore, be careful when you read it. And it's not a black and white situation we have there. Now we're coming to the motivational letter, and I fully agree with what Luis says to create a specific letter that fits every role and every company. We just have one problem. Many tools now only accept one attachment. So it's what you would need to do is kind of to combine the CV and the motivational letter into one document that you could attach. This can be exhausting if you apply for many roles out there, because every time you have to build a new PDF. What I did myself in the past, and what I think is also worth to think about it, is to kind of use a format as a motivational letter that kind of focuses on your skills and competencies, and that you can also keep, in a way where you don't need to change it every time. This would also work. Some companies don't even care about the motivational letter. They want to make it very easy and for the applicants, and especially because many applications coming in by mobile. So they accepted that there is no motivational letter. For myself, I think it's really important, because one should take the time to think about, why do I want this job? Why do I want to join this company? And what am I bringing in? Very important, please don't tell a long story. The recruiter has no time to read it. Please keep it short and clear, and please not a 2-pager. This is no application for university, because sometimes I have the feeling that people kind of think because for university you need a way more, for PhD you need a way more intense and long the motivational letter. You don't need that for your job application. It's the most important is that you show your interest in why you're interested in the company and why you're interested in this job. Don't use superlatives, please. And can you please shut the door? Don't use superlatives, please, in the motivational letter. It's not a good idea. And if you can't find a recruiter's name, this was also asked, is like just use anything else, like dear Madam and Sir, recruiting team to whom it may concern. No problem. If you can't find the name, then this is good. Very important, better double check, is it the right name of the company, the right name of the person, the right name of the job? I can tell you, if any of those things are wrong, then the recruiter doesn't even take the time to kind of read anything of the letter or the resume, because this is in Germany you would say the Kardinalfehler, so a big mistake if you kind of write Ms. Huber-Newman, but then you can read dear Ms. Bauer. So it's not a good idea. Better check double. What do we need in the resume? Mandatory, please, your current location, please, phone number, please, email, nationality, and work permit information if necessary, so if it's requested. Why your current location? Because we need to, some roles are global and or hosted globally, but are connected with a specific location, and we need to see ahead. Is it easy to kind of what about relocation? Would this be needed to be considered, etc.? Photo, you don't have to do that. If you like to, if you put a photo in it, please double check on the dress code, on your background, and how you face the interviewer. Smiling is an option, and it's a very good option. Luis talked about that there are lots of templates on the internet. Don't make it too creative, right? It should give a good overview on what's your education, what's your work experience, and also your probably hobbies and interests. It's also always very interesting for us to see. The unsolicited application. I think this depends. Is that useless or not? It depends on the size of the company. For example, with DSM, we have a talent pool. And because of this talent pool, there is no chance that you could send us any application without a job that's posted. We could also not accept it because we're not allowed to accept resumes via email. So I think smaller companies don't have that, but in our case it is, and everything needs to get in via the system because of data compliance. So this is really important for us. And talent pool, yes, like we said before, it's a good idea to sign in to a talent pool, because then you receive information about job offers that are currently available in the company. Asking the right. Sorry. My screen is a little bit. Okay. I had a blurred screen for the moment.
It's okay here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right, it's coming back again. Okay, so asking the right questions in the interviews. What you do, what you don't do. I mean, there are a lot of instructions out there also on the internet that you can read up to. I think most important is always ask, of course, about the background of the role and facts you couldn't find in the job ad or on the career page. But please do your homework and go to the careers page first. Check out on the company you're applying for, and don't start asking questions about the company itself. Everything you can read on the homepage. Ask about constellation of the team and also about the expectations of the manager and the team, because this signalizes that you want to find out how to fit in. What I wouldn't recommend is in the first call to talk about benefits offered or overtime expected, because this is something you can keep for later. But this is not something I would use in the first meeting or first call. Rejection is a big topic, right? Should you follow up? Most important is if you receive a rejection, there could be several reasons, right? So yes, better qualified external candidates, but also internal candidates available at the same time. Work permit issues. Why work permit issues? I'm also, for example, I'm recruiting for Switzerland at the moment, and Switzerland has a very hard law on work permit and for people coming from third countries. It takes up to 6 months and a lot of work for the recruiter and for HR to get to this permit. So DSM is only doing that starting with an executive level, actually. In Austria, we have a little bit of a different setup, but also here it takes 6 months before we could onboard you successfully if you're coming from a third country. So this could be an issue if the role needs to be hired or needs to be filled very fast, that this could be an issue for a rejection, right? You would probably never receive the real reason why you were rejected. So more a formal letter. Why? Because it's usually standardized in companies, and it's in some countries it's against the law to kind of telling the real reason for it. What you could always do is like write or call the recruiter and say, hey, I went through several stages of recruiting here, and I'm interested in why didn't I make it. and you would most likely, in most cases, receive the feedback in a phone call. And you can always request that, especially if you have the feeling that that you need it for your personal development. Never give up. Yes, that's always, I think also Luis mentioned that before, never give up, okay? Because a no for one role doesn't mean a no for another role. And yeah, that's it from my side. So I'm happy to unshare my screen now because I don't see anything besides my own screen. It's a little bit weird.
Thank you, Claudia. You gave us a bit of useful information about the job search from different sides. I like that. And so I'm looking forward now to the discussion. I'm pretty sure the audience will have interesting questions. And I would like to start off with a bit questions about LinkedIn. Me personally, but I think probably audience also, they are puzzled about how does it work with the recruiters and the LinkedIn. How big of a percentage of the candidates do you screen or look on LinkedIn? If you can answer that question, if that's not a private information.
No. I couldn't tell you the percentage, but if I look for candidates, I basically have to be honest, I only look on LinkedIn. So the active sourcing would only, in my case, or in my or now company's case, would happen via LinkedIn. I think some colleagues from Germany also use Xing. I stopped using Xing because it doesn't fit my expectations for a recruiter board. And the tool we use is eightfold. If, for example, a candidate applies, then eightfold shows me if this candidate has a LinkedIn profile. And on the other side, if I do my sourcing on LinkedIn and I click on a profile, then it shows me that we already have this person in eightfold and in our database. This only happens, of course, if the candidate signed up for the talent pool and renews his information, I think, every 6 months. Otherwise, the data will be deleted after 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. And another question about the LinkedIn, and then I will start with the questions from the audience. Is it good to state on your LinkedIn profile that you're open to work, and for how long?
Well, the opinions are not, are not clear on that. So some people say don't do it. Others say do it. I think it depends on the status of your career. If you are a very experienced person with a lot of work experience, I would not recommend to do it. Because also your own recruiters could see it, and it should not happen. But you can never trust on the technical issues of LinkedIn. So sometimes then it could be that the recruiter gets it. So I wouldn't do that. For people who kind of finished their, let's say, last internship or who graduate from university, why not? It pushes you up front in the list of candidates.
Yeah, it's always interesting because in general, job applications are science on its own, and as you said, for example, for this question, the opinions are divided. But that's why it's good to hear reasoning for always from different people and different experiences.
Yeah.
So let's take first question from the audience. Tamara Tomic says, "Thank you very much. I was wondering if there is a board except UNGBT job board where companies also offer master thesis positions."
Not that I'm aware of, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is another society that Jung Chemiker, but they're only for chemists. So no, I don't think that they are also for biotechnologists. And I think they do something like this, but otherwise I'm not aware of. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you. We have also chemists in the audience, so it was a useful tip anyhow. Okay, and then we have another question from Hina Manzor. If the company or a recruiter doesn't mention any cover letter or motivational letter with the position role, is it still a good idea to go for it since they don't have much time to read everything?
What I would do honestly is I would create a resume or a CV that contains a small paragraph that kind of tells your story, like Luis mentioned in his presentation. What you're currently doing, what you did in the past, but very shortly, and what you're interested in. Where's your passion, right? And try to combine that like in a small paragraph, and then you have the rest of the resume below. You could always then add in there's always a part where you can leave a personal message on the career platform, and if you can do that, then I would put a more personalized information in it. But if the company doesn't request it explicitly, the motivational letter, you can skip it. You don't have to.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a question from Luca Catalano. I will finish my PhD soon. If the positions in the companies did not match completely my profile, how do you suggest to address this issue? Thanks.
To sign up in the talent pool, definitely, because if the company would not offer you any position that would be interesting for you, then it wouldn't make sense. But if it's just a matter of time, then sign up in the talent pool, and you will be informed about the future vacancies that could be interesting for you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Would you also, I would have another question. Do you think it's also smart to maybe adjust your CV depending on the country where somebody is applying? Because you said, for example, that you're recruiting now for Switzerland, and then there is a bit maybe different rules. Also, for example, in Austria, it's requested to have a photo on the CV, and that's not the case for all the countries in Europe.
I don't think that's really necessary. No, I don't see that. I mean, I know that, for example, in the States, you have a different setup in the resume. So they don't expect you to put in your age, or they don't expect you to put in a photo. I know that companies or I heard of the companies like MSD, for example, they would rule your resume automatically out if you put in a photo on your resume. But this is, I've never seen that actually. It's just what I heard from people.
Okay, and I know that you were mentioning throughout your presentation, but what is the status on photo or no photo for DSM?
We don't have that. We have, so like the tool, this eightfold tool, gives us the opportunity to forward the resumes we receive in a very diverse and very natural or very let's say that in a way that diversity is covered as much as possible. So it only shows the hiring manager the skills of the person, the education, and the work experience, but it doesn't tell you if this is a female or a male person. It doesn't tell you if the country of this person, nationality, birth date, if it's included, photo. It cuts it out for the first checkup, and then when the hiring manager says, okay, these 2-3 profiles, they would be a good match, then we're sending out the more detailed resume.
Okay, good. Thank you. Also, before we had a question that was asked to Luis, and then I thought that maybe you could address this question also additionally. For example, we had a question, should we keep one-pager resume for certain positions, or is there positions in industry that are requesting also like 3 or 4 pages, like in academia?
No, I would say as a graduate, 1 pager is good enough. The more you gain experience, it's always good to also see what you're doing in or what you did in the specific role you had. And if it's 1 or 2 pages, then for an experienced person, this is not a problem. Starting with 3 up to 4, yeah, it can be problematic, but 1 to 2 pages is good. And I would say, with papers, for example, some people, they list all their papers also on the resume. This is also something I wouldn't do unless I apply, of course, for a role in the educational field, like universities or so. But for industry, you don't need to do that unless it's relevant for the job you're applying for. So if one of your papers is connected with the job, then of course, but not 10, 15, 20 papers. That's not, we can talk about this later on, but not not for starters.
So I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I would like to maybe let's wrap it up with the question: where can our audience find all the jobs available from DSM in Austria? I guess on the webpage, and how they can also reach out to you if they have more questions.
Of course, yes, please. I'm also available on LinkedIn and happy to connect with each of you. And also, don't hesitate to get back to me with questions.
Okay, good, great. Thank you, Claudia, for speaking for us once more and for all the input, and to both you and Luis and DSM presenting with DSM today.